for the Joan Quinn Profiles. As an editor for Andy Warhol's Interview, the Los Angeles Herald Examiner, LA Style, and Detour magazines, Joan covered the social set, the Hollywood hotshots, the international art scene, the mysteries of food, the excitement of travel, and the fabulous world of fashion. Joan continues to find creative people on the cutting edge who make things happen. Here's Joan Quinn.
Hi, I'm Joan Quinn, and welcome to the Joan Quinn Profiles. Our guests waiting to be profiled are Chef David Myers and actor-writer Laurie Miller. Chef David Myers was born in Boston and raised in Ohio. David wanted to study international business, but food called him. He's worked with the top chefs in the U.S. like Charlie Trotter, Daniel Boulud, Joachim Splichal, and he opened Jean, a wonderful restaurant at the Raffles L'Hermitage, and ultimately his own restaurant called Sona. How did you get interested in food, David?
Well, it's amazing, Joan. I was fortunate enough to be surrounded by great products growing up. You know, there was farmers markets and gardens, and it was great. But really, it came about when I was going to college, and I found myself cooking in the kitchen more often than at school studying for exams.
Is that what happened?
I figured that, you know, there's something going wrong here. I need to look in the direction of the food.
But you were in the farmland, and your family influenced you a little bit?
Well, yeah, well, Cincinnati is not so much the farmland, but it was definitely a city. But, you know, it was nice to be able to have, you know, farmers markets relatively close by. They always cooked from the garden.
Your grandmother?
My
Did your grandmother?
Yeah, she was amazing. They had like an acre-sized garden, and everything was made from there.
So did you pick and cultivate the garden?
Yeah,
and
but it
work
wasn't
on
picking back then. It was just straight working.
Oh, it was?
Yeah.
So she kind of influenced you too on the way to where you were going?
Well, I think, you know, in a very subtle way she influenced me. She taught me, well, the products really showed that this is great, it tastes good. You know what, something from the supermarket today, like a tomato in December, you know that's wrong.
Doesn't taste,
yeah,
right?
It has no taste, and you know, I just was able to taste really good food.
But from your garden food and from your farmers markets and all those, you've really crossed over to Sona. You've brought that feeling into your own restaurant.
Well, we brought the idea that, you know, first you have to start off with the best products. And then I think in the travels that Michelle and I have had, you know, we were able to bring the experiences and the tastes and sort of the whole experience from, you know, being in different parts of the world.
You worked with some really great people. You worked in a 3-star in Paris. I mean, in France,
in Champagne,
actually, in Champagne. And you worked with those great chefs that I talked about. What did you learn? What did you learn, say, from Charlie Trotter in Chicago?
Well, I will say this, from all of the chefs, and especially from Charlie, they're absolute masters at what they do. They're the very, very best. And when you walk into the kitchen and you see them leading and directing and the poetry involved with how they do that, it's absolutely stunning. I mean, as a young cook, you're in awe, absolute awe. And I think from them, I learned a very clear sense of integrity and direction when it comes to cooking. That, and also in life in general. I mean, the way that we operated in the restaurant was the same sort of mentality that we, you know, conducted ourselves outside of the restaurant.
I was going to say, they have to know different things too besides cooking to run their kitchen, right?
Clearly, cooking is such a small part of the whole equation, such a very small part.
That's what's so interesting.
Yeah.
So, and then when you were in Champagne, you were with, who was it, Boyer?
Boyer, yes, at
Did he
Leclerc.
accept you?
Absolutely. First of all, Charlie Trotter had called and had organized it, and I think when you have a sort of a connection like that, it makes it much easier.
I was going to say, because I wondered how a French chef would accept someone from Ohio.
I think French chefs, if they work very hard, if they see a young cook working very hard, they don't care, and they don't. No, not at all. It really comes down to how much respect you have for their restaurant, for what they're doing. Are you there to assist in any way? And you know, I showed them that.
What was exceptional about Boyer's kitchen?
Well, I think that, you know, being that it was my first French culinary experience and seeing a team of 30 people in this kitchen working from 7 in the morning until 1 at night, 7 days a week, was something that was truly exceptional.
And they get along?
Well,
or they're so busy doing their own thing?
You have your typical, little disputes here and there. But what was great about being in France is they actually took time to sit down and have breakfast and have lunch and have dinner. And you had a full hour that they would do this. And they really brought that joy of life that they always talk about to work.
And so that was like kind of bonding too. Did they speak French? Did you learn French?
Yes. Enough to get by. I'm certainly not fluent, but
enough to do. Then in Daniel Boulud's kitchen, because he has a lot of different influences. He has an Asian influence now in his New York kitchen. Before it was strictly French, wasn't it, when he started?
I think a kitchen is really based on who your team is and what your team is capable of at that moment. For a chef as amazing as Danielle, and even for what we're trying to do at Sona, it really comes down to the team. Alex Lee, who was his chef de cuisine while I was at Danielle, really had a very strong sense of French cooking on the technique side, and then a very Asian mentality when it came to the products and the pairing.
So you call your restaurant Sona a modern French with global influences?
Yeah,
and what does that mean?
Well, I wish we didn't even have to put a title to it. But
I know, but people always ask, what type of food is it?
What type of food? And it's really difficult to say. Modern French based in the sense of our technique. It's classical technique but modernized. We don't really use copious amounts of butter and dairy and all of that. Not because of health reasons, but because we want the food to be lighter and to really taste like it. Like a beet, for example, has to taste like a beet, not a beet with a horseradish cream sauce that's really intense.
I see what you're saying. And nothing covered up.
Yeah, and I'm not, I have no aversion to cream or butter or anything, mind you, but, and from our travels, being in Singapore, being in Tokyo, being able to see Cambodia and the Philippines, it's so glorious to see the type of products they have.
And then you're able to remember what they were, or
you never forget something like that. And you can find these products. It's unbelievable. This is truly a global world now. You can get anything by jet. Products are excellent. We do mainly buy from California, though, from small farmers markets, but we put a lot of neat elements in there, whether it's ginger root, whether it's turmeric root, some cool spices from Morocco, things that are very subtle, absolutely wine-friendly, and have
you have to worry about that, too, don't you? You
Always.
have to have the pairing and
Yeah, in our first year, we were awarded the Best of Award of Excellence from Wine Spectator. This upcoming year, we'll have a grand award. It's the highest level. We have 7,000 bottles, and when you have a very serious wine program, you have to be very careful.
We've talked about chefs who were out of Los Angeles. But you also worked with Joachim Splichal.
Yes.
Who has 2 or 3 different kinds of restaurants.
Yes, he developed a brand with Bettina, which was his temple, his baby, if you will. And then he opened up some bistros, a little more casual. And then he took on catering and basically dominated the whole town on the catering front as well. He grew an unbelievable business and gave a lot of people some wonderful opportunities to grow.
That's true too. We always forget about how the big chef, the big guy, also has to bring other people in and nurture them and make sure, and those people go out and can open their own restaurants. And I guess from there you went to Jean, which was at the Raffles at the L'Ermitage.
Yes.
And you opened that, and I didn't know you at that time, but rave reviews about the food all the time.
Thank you. That was a really exciting project. The second day I started, Raffles bought the hotel.
Oh, is that what happened?
It was like, what's going to happen here? I had a great meeting with the CEO, Richard Helfer, at the time, and I made it very clear that I would only work for a company that had the highest standards of excellence. And if, what was their idea with the restaurant, what we were doing was something that was very significant, and I thought could really change the mindset of people in hotels and the dining in hotels. And he had the same idea. He wanted the highest level of excellence.
So that was great.
It was wonderful, and I had never been to Singapore at that time, and he was able to bring me over there.
Oh, he did.
Yes, I launched the opening of Jean in Singapore with their chef there. I was not the chef, but I helped assist in the launching of it, and it was really, really remarkable.
So that adds. I want to show some of these, the way you've beautifully plated these things. Tell me what this
Well,
piece
this is Bigeye Tuna. It's from Costa Rica, and it's with an herb emulsion. It's just a puree of various herbs that we buy
Yes.
from Scarborough Farms, and also from a farm up in Malibu. These tiny little geranium blossoms, which are absolutely stunning, which are the pink, yes.
These. Oh,
and then
beautiful.
some daikon sprouts that have the nice pungency of the radish that is typical in Japanese cooking.
One more. You talked
you're gonna
about
kick out of
beets
this.
tasting like beets.
Yeah, these are from Chino Ranch, hand-picked. It doesn't get any better than this.
They're so pretty. They're not red like we think beets are. Can I taste this?
Absolutely, you'll love it. This is a multicolored one. Has a really nice clean beet flavor. Has goat cheese. We did a little fondant with that. And with plating, we look at it as not just putting food on a plate. When you come to Sewn, it's about an experience. And it should really look so natural and beautiful, and let the food stuff
The flavor, I can taste that.
come on.
I can taste the little greens, and then I
Yeah.
can taste a little fun of the what was it?
The fondant, the goat cheese.
The goat cheese. And one more. I'm going to just go this way, because this is so beautiful.
Thank you. That's Confit Salmon. We cook it in olive oil, and it's with a little ravioli of celery root. The celery root.
Can I lift this
Yeah.
just to show what's...
The celery root
underneath it?
is actually our idea of pasta, and we have.
Oh, this is the celery root.
Yeah.
I'm pulling this apart.
No,
this
that's
is the
fine.
celery root, and this is spinach.
And that's Swiss chard.
Oh, Swiss chard.
And
How
some
great.
spinach. Yeah.
It's
so it's a
beautiful
fun. It's a very
color.
playful way of us to kind of have fun with the ravioli idea.
The color is great.
Thank you.
How do you prepare the menus?
The menus are done based on the product that we've bought. We don't go into creating the menu on what we want to make. We go into what we have, or
see.
what we're ordering rather. We order every day. So it's like writing a poem every day.
So, in other words, what's at hand? What if your wife Michelle comes running in at 6 o'clock and says, "Oh, I found this fabulous, let's say, some vegetable."
Yeah, I can guarantee you it's going into a dish for somebody.
It'll be that.
Right then. Yeah, absolutely.
So, if somebody comes to the table and says, "Oh, I can't eat anything on this menu," what can you do?
Well, we have to see if we can do something. First of all, I mean, we can't cook without water and a few other things. But what we do is we ask everybody: are there any allergies, or are there any foodstuffs that you particularly don't want? Yeah,
individual something.
Yeah, and then we really work around that. I mean, we had a guest last evening who is a vegan. And so, of course, we created a 9-course tasting menu for a vegan. We had another guest who...
You mean just on the spot, because you had everything there?
Oh, absolutely.
Oh,
If you
that's
can't,
so
I mean, that's what
great.
cooking is. That's cooking.
I know, but you don't expect that when you go into a restaurant.
Really?
You expect to get what's on the menu, and if you start picking it apart and saying, "I want this" or "I want that," I don't think you're going to get something tasty. But it sounds
That's
like
true.
you are.
Well, we can do that because we're creating it from scratch. The a la carte, what I want to omit, and not really, because the a la carte is very much sort of a set dish, and it works because it works that way. The tasting menu gives us leeway. For instance, for the vegan, we could have done the celery ravioli and the Swiss chard as one course. We could have done a dairyless soup for another one.
I see.
The options are endless.
Well, I have to be coming over there to see you because it's your work and the way you approach food is so pure.
Thank
that I congratulate you.
Thank you, Joan.
David Myers, and don't go away. We'll be right back with Laurie Miller. Hi, I'm Joan Quinn, and welcome back to the Joan Quinn Profiles. I'm here with multi-hyphenate Laurie Miller, who was born and raised in New Jersey. She earned a Bachelor of Fine Arts from Marymount Manhattan College, specializing in theater. So this writer, producer, composer, lyricist, and vocalist, did I leave anything out?
I think you covered
it. Found herself 10 years out of college being a yoga master or yoga teacher. How did that happen?
Oh, well, actually, it was the year after I graduated college. Yeah, so
right away.
Right out of college, yeah. I just decided that I wanted to integrate two of my passions, which are healing arts and the arts in terms of entertainment and fine arts. And I thought a really nice marriage would be to become a yoga instructor because it's so physical.
But you weren't intending to give up theater when you became a yoga instructor.
No, I was not. I had always in the back of my mind hoped to marry the two different art forms.
You did, but wasn't that a little kind of off kilter at that time?
It was. To me, I think that the healing arts are also an artistic form. And I got really interested in that when I was 16. I was in a bad automobile accident.
Tell us what happened then and how you got in. That probably motivated you, right?
Precisely. Well, when I was 16, I was in an automobile accident where I hit a semi, and I had a number of injuries that I sustained. And so, you know, my focus had always been on theater arts prior to then, and music.
Even at 16?
Even as a kid. I come from a creative family, and so my focus had always been in the arts. But at that time, my interest clearly needed to go into participating in my own healing.
Oh, I see.
And so that's really where, this is kind of how this marriage happened. My interest in healing grew.
I see.
And
as you became more adept at yoga, you started working with children or on children's projects, because you did something at the Disney Channel?
I was the consultant on the Disney Channel. Actually did an episode where they taught yoga on a show called Out of the Box, and I was the consultant for that show.
So you started using yoga
Yes.
in television or in theater right away, which was in your mind, I guess.
Yeah, it was always in the back of my mind that I wanted to spread yoga to kids so I could help them feel empowered about their own healing in a way that I had.
How did they find you, the Disney Channel?
Well, you know, I'd been working on and off in television.
Oh, I see.
Starting from when I was in college. I was just kind of ingrained in different circles in New York and the music scene, and I did some work in television. And
then you started giving seminars for young people, workshops. What would you do in those kind of situations?
Well, a lot of the times they were workshops that were based on creativity. So I'd come in and I would do like team building exercises, as well as teach yoga and do different exercises where the kids could create their own music.
Where were they doing these Where were you doing these workshops?
Mostly in Buffalo. There's actually an organization called the Creative Education Foundation that's based out of Buffalo, although they hold an annual international conference.
Oh, so you were a part of that?
Yes.
So you had a built-in audience, or you had students?
Well, I was one of the leaders that would be flown out to go to these programs. So there would be programs where the kids would be at risk. There was one particular program where 75% of the freshman class had failed the previous year. So they knew that they needed to get people in there to help motivate the students to work together and to get them engaged in their learning process.
What grade would that have been?
It was 9th graders.
Oh, it was. And then you had that freshman success program.
Exactly.
Is that what it was? Is that what it was called?
Absolutely.
What would you do with these kids that couldn't pass their exams?
Well, we just wanted to talk about different ways that they could become motivated to be leaders themselves.
Oh, you had to put the onus on their being somebody important.
Exactly, because we were not their teachers. We were just a separate organization coming in to help boost their self-esteem and motivate them to work together as a team.
I see. What a good program.
Yes.
Did it work?
I think so. I think it was a highly effective program.
And then you were doing this improv with a group of kids, like comedy club type of thing.
Yeah, that was a little earlier.
Oh, was it?
The Kids Comedy Club was a group of improvisational actors for kids that performed at the Children's Museum of Manhattan.
Did you do that?
Yes, and I started in that actually when I was a kid.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Oh, so then you just grew into coming back and giving what you had learned.
Correct.
And where was it? In different museums?
The Children's Museum of Manhattan, and that was an organization based mainly out of Sarasota, Florida, which is where I grew up for most of my childhood.
Oh, so you weren't really raised in New Jersey.
I was born in New Jersey.
I see. You were basically raised in Florida?
Correct.
I see. So then when you came back to New York and you went to Marymount, I mean, you were coming to a new city,
Exactly.
basically.
Yeah.
I see. You did off-Broadway.
Correct. We were
with Homeland.
That's right.
Who wants to say Homeland? What does that mean?
Well, Om is a word, and I heard something lovely about it. It's the sound. Everybody's kind of familiar now with Om, you know, a meditative sound. And I heard something lovely that it's the sound that trees would make if they were able to speak. And it's just a universal sound.
That makes it sound much different, doesn't it?
Yeah, well, now part of the vernacular for people is homeland.
So so that's how you put it together for Homeland, Homeland?
No, actually, Homeland was a title that we were using way before it was within the more recent
The
vernacular.
Homeland Security.
Yes.
But when you took this off Broadway,
Yes.
how long did it run for a while?
Yes, it ran for 12 weeks.
Oh, it did.
Yeah,
and were you performing in it?
I certainly was. Yeah.
And writing?
That's right. Yeah.
So does that was called Homeland Live.
Correct.
You're doing Homeland in Los Angeles.
Right.
What is that called?
Homeland Live.
Oh, it is Homeland
Yeah.
Live too. What does it mean?
Well, Homeland Live is actually the place. Well, Homeland, live is just referring to the fact that this is a live theatrical production.
Okay.
But Homeland, within the context of what the show is the place where, a magical land where the characters of our story live.
Oh, I see.
So they live within the heart of a flower, and the audience is also welcome to participate by performing the flower pose. They too enter this magical land.
So when you go on stage,
Yeah.
you call Homeland Live interactive.
Absolutely.
And so do you bring people up on stage?
We're not bringing people up on stage, but we have our people go into the house.
I see.
And we encourage the audience to stomp their feet and sing along,
that's how it's
raise their
interactive?
arms up, bring their hands down,
I
scream
see.
with us, sing with us, whisper with us, you know, the whole gamut of ways in which you could be creative yourself as a kid.
Is it improv then, or are you like really scripted when you go into the audience?
It's really scripted. There's a section of the show which is improvised. There's a very specific structure about how it works, but essentially to overcome the worries, which is the antagonist in the show, we need everybody's help and the entire audience to work together.
So you start a story and then you include
Exactly, and the way they
us-
do that, sorry, excuse
Go
me.
on, tell us, because it's great.
Is to create their own song. So in every show of Homeland Live, a completely original song is created by the audience, and that's how we overcome our antagonist and eventually surprise the son, which was our goal for the show.
But that's interesting because that is unscripted.
Exactly.
Everything else is tightly scripted, and then you get to that. How do you improv on something like that?
Well, it's facilitated by one of the characters. The audience is broken up into 3 groups.
I see.
And some of the audience, they stomp, and
I
some
see.
sing, and some clap. And it's a really fun moment.
You have a bug band.
That's right.
What's the bug band?
Well, the bug band is the band, and we're all dressed. I'm actually a vocalist in the bug band, and the bug band are the accompaniment of the show.
Tell us who the characters are, because the characters are funny too, aren't they?
Yeah, the characters are all animal characters.
Who are they?
There's 5 butterflies.
And do they wear butterfly costumes?
Absolutely, we have beautiful costumes in this show. 5 butterflies, and it's really their journey to surprise the sun. And 2 dogs, and a grasshopper, and a snake, and then the bug band.
Oh, you have a big cast.
Yeah, there's 14 people total.
And do they all live in Los Angeles, or do they come from other parts of the country?
Yes, one person came from New York to do this production.
Oh, and then can you take this kind of production into the schools? That's where I think it would be great.
You know, that's what we're really hoping to do. Yeah, we're hoping to get the show on the road and share it with as many different children as we possibly can.
Does Homeland have to be seasonal? Is there a seasonal part? No.
No, not at all. It's a great experience, I'd say, for people of all ages, for families. And when we were in New York, we had a big 20-something, audience, just of people that just, know.
But do you integrate yoga in it?
Absolutely. Like each character, for example, Down Dog's a well-known yoga pose.
Oh, yeah.
And in our show is a character named Down Dog, and he teaches his corresponding pose through a hip-hop song.
Oh, is that right?
So each character in the show teaches their corresponding pose through a different style of world music.
What other poses?
Grasshopper pose is done through an African percussion song.
So you have drums on stage?
Snake song's done through a Latin salsa.
Oh.
So, the music is eclectic.
Did you write the music?
Yes, myself and two others. Yeah.
Collaborative.
It's a
then.
very collaborative project. Yeah, this is really collaboratively done.
And do you still teach yoga?
I do. I'm currently teaching yoga to kids.
You do? Oh, to kids.
Yeah. I only really teach yoga to kids, yeah. So it's very playful and it's fun and it's energetic. But there's moments of stillness in it as well.
Now that you've got Homeland going and it's been on Broadway and it's been a hit in Los Angeles and you're thinking of taking it into schools, have you thought of breaking away since you're living in LA now and doing TV or stage?
Absolutely. That actually has been a major goal of ours from the beginning. That's how we feel that we'll be able to affect the most amount of kids, by putting it into people's homes and getting people up and off the couch and participating in something active and fun and musical that's on television.
And that's you. But what about you individually?
Oh, individually.
As an actor, yes.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm not really an actor per se anymore. I'm really, my focus right now is on this project. And outside of this project, what are my goals outside of that? I'm getting married this year. We'll see.
I see. So you're not here to be an actress and go. You're here to do this project.
That's right. I'm really interested and committed in creating projects for young people, and I firmly believe that it is possible to do well while doing good.
What about singing? You sing?
Yes.
So give us, what character do you play?
I'm just a vocalist. I'm in the Bug Band.
Oh, you're in the Bug Band.
So I'm a backup vocalist.
You wouldn't sing like...
No, I don't do any of the solo stuff. Our show is heavy on harmonies, on vocals.
Oh, so you can't give us a vocal right now.
I'd love to, but it would be so out of context.
Well, we're glad you came on today.
Thank you.
It's a very interesting project.
Thank you.
And good luck. And thank you for watching today. Keep watching the Joan Quinn Profiles and keep writing to 777 South Figueroa, 44th floor, Los Angeles 90017. We'll see you next time on the Joan Quinn Profiles.